Welcome to Readings from the Animal Kingdom with Kareema from Pet Care Magic. I'm an animal communicator, a Reiki master who specialises in animals, and an intuitive psychic. And I like to combine all of those modalities into channeling messages from the animal kingdom for myself and for others. We live within a community of not only people, but a community of many, many wild animals, as well as many domesticated animals. You might have dogs or cats or fish or birds or rats or mice or whatever in your home, tarantulas, if that's the sort of animal you love, in your home. But then there's also a huge number of animals outside of your home, from big to small, up in the sky, down in the earth, even under the earth, in the trees, right around us. And all of those animals at any particular point in time may or may not have a message for you. And I'm going to invite you through these readings done every week on a Sunday, hopefully, to listen to that message, take what resonates for you, and open up your way of thinking over the following week into how that message does or doesn't fit into your life. It's okay if it doesn't. It's okay if only some of it does. That is 100% up to you. The animal kingdom has no egos. They don't mind. They just hang around out there, and if they're given an opportunity to communicate a message, they will. Each week will have a particular theme to it. Before I start the reading, I will meditate on what animal I think has the overarching message for that week. And I will then choose which of the numerous animal-themed decks I have to work out which deck I will be using for that reading. So this week, and today is the 31st of December here in Australia. It's a Sunday, the very last day of 2023, and it's been a really weird week, a really weird day. I feel it's been a really weird year on the back of, 20, 21, 22, and now 23 that have been really strange. And I've always said, and I was just re-listening to that intro that I made some weeks ago as I was doing this, I'm being called quite a lot lately, in particular this week, to integrate not only animals, because I've always called myself an animal communicator and an animal reader, but to integrate not only animals, but also to integrate elements of nature into my readings. And I've been really called very much this whole week, and it's been starting even from last week. We've been having some really unusual patterns of weather here in Australia. So we're in summer. Our summer starts obviously on December the 1st, but we actually have quite a nice, fairly summery spring as well. I don't know, it's quite chilly here today by our summer standards, which means it's sort of like 20, seeing what my app's telling me. It's saying 22 degrees Celsius on the computer. 22 degrees Celsius is 22 Celsius is 71.6 Fahrenheit, which is neither hot nor cold. I'm in short sleeves. But it's very, very stormy. So this last few weeks here in Australia, the weather's been all over the place. We feel like, or I feel like, nature's really sort of pushing its fury onto us. I'm getting this solid feeling, a very, very uncomfortable feeling that nature is upset with us as humans, and that it's not so much that A, it is upset, and also B, nature is trying to tell us, and the animal kingdom's nodding at me as I'm saying this, nature is trying to tell us that don't get ahead of yourselves, humans. Don't think you dictate everything, that there are more powerful forces way above us. And here I've got like storm clouds, lightning, wind, flooding, and we've been getting all of those so far over the last few weeks here in Australia, and not uncommon. We also get bushfires, and we've had some bad bushfires in Perth which is over in the western side of the country, about 3,000 kilometres away. We've had heat wave conditions. Yesterday was a stinking, not yesterday, the day before was a stinking hot day. One of those really very hard to breathe sort of feelings, but it wasn't much, wasn't quite 100, but it was still a very hot, humid day. So getting this overriding feeling that nature's saying, hey guys, you know, humans, you really think you control everything. The answer is no, you don't. Far from it. It's nature that controls everything. And that no matter what you do, you're powerless. You're powerless to the wind. You're powerless to the floods. Like even on, it was Christmas Eve, we had an immense thunder, lightning, rainstorm. The rain wasn't hugely, it wasn't flooding rain, but it was like a lot of water pouring down in a very short period of time. But all the walls around me were like shaking because of the reverberation of the thunder and the lightning that was happening right over the top of me. And it was I was scared. I don't scare very easily in natural things, but it was one of those storms that scared me, mostly because I'm sitting here thinking, am I going to have a roof, flying off very shortly? There's no trees to come down where I'm living, thank God, but I'm thinking, is this roof got to stay on? And to me, nature's inviting its fury back in. We had the first ever cyclone of the season. So our cyclones here in Australia are like your tornadoes in the US. However, they're over a much broader. They act a little bit differently. They develop out in the Pacific Ocean, usually out around Solomon Islands, sometimes New Caledonia, those sorts of areas, higher or lower, sort of out to the east of Australia. And then they track them coming over the Pacific coast, over the Pacific Ocean, and they track them for intensity, and they also track to say, well, when are they going to make land? Are they? I mean, these are the same cyclones that can affect Vanuatu, they can affect Fiji, they can affect all of those islands out there. Obviously, Australians being Australians, they're only much interested in what happens in Australia, so they track them, and they were tracking this one for quite a period of time before it made land. And when they make land, that's when they're very dangerous, because that's when there's the height of the rain, the wind, the damage. And this one hit land somewhere just north of Cairns, which is a very, very long way away from me. And it caused quite a lot of damage that they're still cleaning up from. So, but that was really unusual, because we don't normally get cyclones in December. Our cyclone season is usually late summer, early autumn. We can often get them into April, March. Our summer ends at the end of February, but our cyclone season is traditionally the end of summer, not the beginning. So I did hear the figures. The last time we had a cyclone in December was, like many years ago, decades ago. And Mother Nature just seems to be very, very unsettled. Like yesterday or the day before was really hot. Yesterday was quite hot. Today I've woken to overcast, 22 degrees, which is quite cool for us here in Australia. Rainy, cloudy, but it's not only rain, it's stormy, it's unsettled. There's this feeling that nature's furiously sitting up there saying, right, where do I need to unleash on? There's a strong feeling of, I will teach you going on for me. And to me, it's a very strong message from nature. And we've been seeing this message a little bit from the animal kingdom in the card readings over the last few weeks as well, that says, beware, humans. We will teach you. I don't know whether you can hear it in the background. I've got thunder going on right at the moment. Beware, humans, that we will teach you. You are at our power, and ignore us at your peril. So there's this really weird feeling going on for me this week. I missed the reading on last Sunday. I just, A, wasn't feeling well, and B, was struggling with this really strange feeling going on. That was Christmas Eve. We did on Christmas Eve subsequently have that very bad storm that I was telling you about. Really bad storm. Again, no damage in our area, damages in other areas. Like there was mini cyclonic damage in other areas a long way away from me. But it's this really strong thing of, we will teach you. You need to start thinking about us, and the thinking about us is about humans. You need to reconnect with Mother Earth. You need to respect Mother Earth, reconnect, and understand that Mother Earth is what is controlling everything. And of course, animals know that really well. They are very, particularly wild animals, are very well connected to Mother Earth. But I also see that within my domesticated animals. Like the dogs know when storms are coming. The dogs are unsettled when storms are coming. That particular big storm, the dogs were just like, they hated it. So a couple of them went and hid under the bed. It was that bad. So that's the sort of feeling that's coming today. Unfortunately, I don't have a deck of cards that is this, that I could draw off. I went looking for one. In fact, I've been looking on the internet for a deck of cards that does use these natural elements of the world to probably incorporate into my readings. But for this week, I've chosen the World Animal Dreaming set by Scott Alexander King. Probably the close. I'll invite you. Oops, and I've got the wrong cards up there. It's probably the closest that I can get to. Just seeing why I've got the wrong cards up there. It's the sort of the closest ones I can get to this. No, because I forgot to change them. Closest ones I can get to this feeling. So it's not the saltwater reading cards. It's Scott Alexander King's World Animal Card Dreaming set. I've lost StreamYard now. Where is it? There it is. So this is the point where I stop and I say, think about what you want to know from this reading today. Focus on card A, B, and C. And I'll pause the video while you have a little think about it. I'll just play the little intro here. Now to click pause on the video, look at the card A, B, and C, and jot down either in the comments below or on a piece of paper, wherever you think is appropriate, which card resonates most for you. This is not something you have to do within seconds. It might take you a couple of minutes. At this point, you might walk away and say, I'm not going to do this today. That's all very fine. But is it A, B, or C that most calls to you? So card A that's come out is the jackal. And it says on it the jackal or death. Death in the world I live in is not about physical death. It can sometimes be about physical death, and that brings me back to the heat waves. Like we talk about things like COVID and illnesses and cancer, motor vehicle accidents. We talk about all the sort of human ways to die, things that are dependent on human biology, but heat waves are incredibly dangerous. Flooding is incredibly dangerous. In the flood events we've had around here lately, we've had some deaths. Silly people still doing things like hanging around floodwater when it's flooding, going and playing in drains when it's flooding. And human nature has an ability to disregard all the warnings that go on out there and just say, yeah, she'll be right, mate. It's not going to apply to me. The she'll be right, mate is very much an Australian saying. I run a little local weather channel for the area, and my attempts to help people understand what's coming. Is there a weather event coming? Is there, a high bushfire warning? Are we looking at the potential flood warnings? And I still get a lot of people saying, yeah. Well, look, I still left my car sitting outside, even though all the warnings said we had a very high potential of hail. I'm even getting alerts on my phones now where the insurance companies will say, storms are coming in your particular area. There was a high incidence of hail, and some of these storms have been hail. It was hailing here, not here. It was hailing very nearby the other day. I forget where I was going with this. So death, so death. The jackal's warning us about death in two particular ways. Number one, these natural events are very, very dangerous. Heat waves are very dangerous. There's been warnings out on the TV every night saying, go check on your elderly neighbours and relatives because heat waves will kill. Flooding will kill. Bushfires will kill. Lightning can kill. It's fairly rare, and you're fairly stupid if you're standing out in the middle of a field with lightning going on. These weather events, cyclones will obviously kill. You've got to heed Mother Nature, and the jackals. So the jackals saying in times of very much a lot of instability going on in our atmosphere around us, the risk of actual death is higher. The other thing about a death card, whenever it comes out in any reading, this deck or any other deck or even traditional tarot, is that death will often mean substantial change going on, death of a lifestyle or death of the way you have been living. It could be, your job, your job's changing, or you need to change your job, or a death of a relationship, death of a friendship, maybe. It signifies generally massive change, not necessarily death in the way in which we automatically think about it. I don't often pull the jackal card. The jackal it's an African American animal. African American, sorry, it's an African animal. To be honest, I'm not sure if the jackal exists anywhere else. It certainly doesn't here in Australia. And my alerts to participate, requesting to participate in the Weather and Emergency Watch channel are going crazy. It's an animal that's like, I'm getting this real sensitivity feeling from it. But it's easy to look at it and think fox, wolf, canine style ancestry. Be interesting to know where the jackal fits into the wolf. I think it's probably closer to a fox than it is to a wolf, but where all of that fits in and how all of that comes through down to our domesticated dogs now. But anyway, it's canine-like energy. The scientists will have a fit if I say it's part of the canine family, because it's probably not. I doubt it is very much, but it's got that sort of energy about it. This particular dog is feeling like, I'm getting a real sense of, not so much fear, but this sense of uncertainty is coming through from this card as well. I'm almost, if this card was to be a video, I would almost be expecting to see the brow start furrowing with a bit of anxiety, uncertainty, the nose start doing what you see in canines when they're not sure, which is like a lot of sniffing of the air going on, and like a hypermobile end of the muzzle. Dogs when they're anxious, look, I don't know about jackals. I've never seen a jackal other than in the zoo. But most of these animals with facial setups like this often indicate their anxiety by what's called the mouth, where the upper and lower jaw joins, and you'll see often if a canine is anxious, it will often be panting more. The mouth will be open. They're pulling a lot of scent back across the scent receptors that are sitting on the palate up above. Because remember, animals don't rely on sight as their first sense. They rely on what they can smell and what they can perceive and what they can hear. They're much more in tune with all their senses that we are. And particularly dogs, they're much more in tune with their very, very acute sense of healing and acute sense of smell, much more so than us. And this jackal is just feeling to me like it's picking up on this. It's picking up on the same uncertainty and that I've been feeling over the last couple of weeks. The same sense of impending something. I can't make up my mind whether it's an impending doom or impending renewal. I'm really interested to see what the beginning of 2024 will bring, because part of me hopes that it's going to be, we go over into 2024 and all of a sudden we all get this mindset of, okay, we're past all the bad years of 2021, 22, 23. and things are going upwards. God forbid if they go downwards, or God forbid if they stay the same. I don't think most of us can handle it. There's been a lot of angst going on. And as an empath, I pick up on those sorts of stuff. So I've been struggling the last month or so because I'm picking up on all the anxiety that people are feeling, all the anxiety that the animals are feeling, and it makes it very, very difficult to function at times. Really getting a strong feeling of stillness about this jackal. I just sort of got a picture of just sitting very still and taking in all of this, taking in everything on it through all of the senses, and trying very hard not to overreact. The jackal's saying to me, just be still and stay in the moment. Don't overreact. Don't get too anxious. Don't ignore what's going on. Just take it all in, absorb it, be still, be ready and prepared to act is what I just heard. But don't overreact. But don't overreact and don't underreact. Just be this still in the moment. Stay still in the moment is what I just keep hearing. And I just got a nod, a very strong nod that sort of said, yeah, you got it. Okay, so that's card 1. Card 2. So card 2 is the coyote, the joker. Again, we've got, I'm curious now to go away and have a look at a family tree of the inheritance of wolves to coyotes to foxes to domesticated canines. But the coyote is very much an animal that has taken very well to living on the edges of humanity. We don't have coyotes here in Australia. We have dingoes, which are somewhat similar in that they're much shyer than the coyote. You generally very rarely find dingoes exhibiting on the edges of urban areas like you do with the coyotes in the States. We get foxes over here. So we have foxes and dingoes are our only non-domesticated species. We also get quite a few domesticated dogs that have been dumped out in the bush, and particularly around here we've got a lot of bush area to the back up behind where my farm is, which is about another 13 or so k's inland from where I am. There's a lot of crown land nature. It's like it's not wilderness per se, but it's not habitable, and you will get packs of wild dogs living in there. So the coyote is very, very capable of having straddled that line between being wild and being not fearful of humans, and then shows us probably how wolves ended up evolving into domesticated dogs. They will, if necessary, encroach on human territory, and they do it. And arrogance was the word I just heard. It's like, yeah, it's our territory. We allow you to inhabit our territory, not vice versa. There's been attempts to eradicate coyotes and things over all of the years, and even wolves, and that's sort of not done very much nowadays, thank heavens. But the thing that caught my attention when I pulled this card was Coyote the Joker, and I then flashed back to nature and the coyote in nature, and the coyote, like, I've got this picture of a coyote standing there on a hillside in the middle of a huge, massive, big thunderstorm, a thunder and electrical storm, going, ha, 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 ha. This doesn't scare me, not at nature, but at us, saying, the joke's on you humans. There's a bit of a malevolence. This reading's really hard to do because there's a lot of malevolence coming from both the animal kingdom and nature for me in this reading today, and I don't know whether that reflects my mindset or whether it's, I don't know. But anyway, it is where I am right at the moment. It's like the joke's on you guys. You think you control it all. You think you're the ones that are the movers and shakers. Well, hello, we've got news for you. You know, we are the controllers of this world. If you think about it, coyotes, if you're living in an area where there's lots of coyotes, and you're not going to let your small pets out, you know, when the coyotes are around. You know, you've got to be wary wary of them, because they are predators. They are strong predators, depending on what they're predating on. Trust me, I wouldn't want to be out in nature with a pack of coyotes coming at me. I honestly wouldn't. And yeah, the Joker just keep like, and this laugh that's coming with it, the classic sort of ha ha ha, you know, that really deep and menacing laugh that's coming with it. And the coyotes just reinforcing this message that we're getting from nature, sort of be wary. He's also quite still. He's also quite in tune with his senses. He doesn't look as stressed as the jackal looked. Where's the jackal back again? The jackal looked more stressed, or feels. No, the jackal feels more stressed to me than does the coyote. The coyote feels just a little bit more. What's the word? A little bit more okay with this impending feeling that's going on. Okay, so that's card A and card B. What have we got for card C? Card C. So card C is the rhinoceros, staying power. It's like there's always a group of animals. It's in this deck. It's also in some of my other decks. The rhinoceros, the bison. Over here in Australia, things like crocodiles, alligators. The animals that have incredible longevity, not only in the length of time they live, but incredible longevity in their ancestry. The rhinoceroses always remind me of the dinosaur era. You know, they're big, they're heavy, they seem totally out of sync with where they live, and the fact that they need masses and masses and masses of range, like acres of range to live in. They're a creature that you look at them and you think, how on earth does this creature still manage to survive? I know it's taken a lot of work, a lot of conservation work to keep white rhinos in particular alive. I've been lucky enough to see white rhinos in zoos, obviously, never in the wild. To see white rhinos, we've got some of them up at Dubbo, Western Plains Zoo at Dubbo. Sorry, Taronga Zoo at Dubbo, and they're incredible creatures. And so it's about, as soon as I saw this card, it was about, I felt much better, because it was about, we will be okay. We just need to be solid and stable and connect back into nature, to take what's coming at us and know that we have the staying power. I mean, humans have been on Earth quite a very long time. Rhinos have been on Earth quite a very long time. You could argue they've probably been on Earth longer than humans have. I don't know the ancestry, but humans certainly have, and we've managed to weather massive change events in the world. You know, the plagues of whatever century that was, wars, lots and lots, you know, lots of massive volcanic eruptions. We've managed to weather all of this. We managed to weather, every year we manage to weather the cyclones, or most of us, the cyclones, the tornadoes, the floods, the heat waves, the bushfires. Yes, we lose a few people in the process, and the animals just reminded me that they lose a lot of animals in those processes as well. And that's the cycle of nature. That is the way nature goes. Not all of us are destined to live long lives. Unfortunately, I had a cousin that passed away at 12 or 13. Another cousin that passed away in his early 20s. and another cousin as well who passed away in her teenage years. Not and unfortunately, I've also lost a couple of babies. So not all of us are destined to live forever, but that humans do have a strong staying power. We have a strong staying power, and that we need to be sensitive and vigilant. So the sensitivity of the jackal, the vigilance of the coyote, and the adaptability of the coyote, and the staying power of the rhinoceros to persevere, to make it through no matter what gets thrown at us. And I take that into a not only what gets thrown to us by nature, but what gets thrown to us by world events. Think about the wars going on at the moment and the people that are stuck in the middle of war zones. Think about down on a personal level, you might have, people who might have lost their job, or a relationship has ended, a divorce has happened, or even a really, really good friendship has ended, or a mother or father has lost a child, a sister who's lost another sister, or a brother, a sibling. That we do have the staying power to make it through those sorts of events. We've just got to be sensitive, still, grounded, and literally hang in there, and know that this too shall pass. It doesn't feel good when we're going through it, I'll tell you that, but this will pass, and that we will come out the other side. And then what that looks like is anybody's guess. I mean, I get back to my thoughts just went to, so what, I keep thinking to myself, what is 2024 going to look like? I don't do much of the looking at the predictions of the people in the astrological world. Was looking at one the other day. I'm always in two minds about those sorts of things. I generally end up getting a gut instinct about what is going to happen in the future. My gut instinct is, and I have absolutely no way of substantiating this, but my gut instinct is 2024 is going to be better than the last few years. That we've gone through cataclysmic change, and that there's still some to come, but we're on the other side of it. If you think of a bell curve, you go up the beginning of the bell curve, you peak at the top, and whether you flatten at the top or you peak in a sharp peak and then fall back down again is the question. I think we've gone up that really steep upward trend. I think 2021, 22, early 23 is when we were like flatlining along the top of that bell curve. And I think 23, 24, we're slowly, I think the slide down the backside of the bell curve feels like to me it's going to be quite long and extended. And I'm thinking that the bell curve is going to extend. It's not going to be over quickly. We eventually, and I think by the end of 2024, we're going to be able to look back and go, oh, thank God, we're much closer to the end, and things are looking a lot more positive. I worry a little bit about the environment. I worry a little bit about the nature of the changes we're seeing. Like the storms seem to be getting fiercer. The flooding seems to be getting worse. The numbers of those events seem to be more and more. And I'm not even going to go into the whole climate change argument, but is it a climate change, or is it a cycle going on? Who knows? Or is it a combination of both, which I think is probably the answer. But I think what this reading is also telling us is that we need to learn to adapt to the changes, the natural changes that are going on around us. Adapt and work out how we live, how we stay connected with nature, and how we deal with what nature's going to throw at us. And I think the rhino is telling us that tap into the staying power and wisdom of ancient breeds like this one, ancient breeds like the bison. I'm really surprised the bison card didn't come out. It often comes out in these sorts of readings, but the rhino is very similar. But that has a slightly more wild feel to it. Like bisons, I know people who actually, well, I don't know them, but I know of people who farm bison. So bisons are a little bit more domestically integrated at times than are the rhinos. I don't know anyone who farms rhinos, and I know the keepers who handle the rhinos at the zoos and things have very, very particular ways of having to care for them, because God only knows they can be very dangerous creatures. I'm feeling better after this reading than I was when I started it. I always feel better after I've done a reading, because I feel like tapping into the wisdom of the animal kingdom, and I'm almost feeling, I just sort of almost got a more peaceful feeling from nature. Yes, the thunder's still rumbling outside behind me. It's still dark and grim. It's not raining. I feel like I should put some lights on, but I haven't. But I'm feeling like nature is saying, are you calmer now? Having thought about all this, tapped into this energy, got a little bit grounded with the earth. And that's, I think, the message to you. Tap into this energy. Don't be scared by it, but become a little more grounded. Take this time over this period of change from 23 to 24 to become a little bit more grounded. I mean, classic, go outside and find a tree and hug it. Be a little bit more in nature. I know it's very hard in the US where you're getting into some cold weather. Here in Australia, it's like, get outside, leave your worries and troubles behind you, of relationships and families and work, and here we've got mortgage stress going on, like the mortgage stress is going on in many places. Leave all that behind you for a while and just connect with nature. I actually don't mind being outside in some of the violent storms, depending on how violent the storm is, but particularly when it first starts raining. I was sitting outside the other day, as my want, sort of in the afternoons, the dogs and I go outside and they have a bit of a play, and I sort of take in the cooler air as it starts to come in. And it started to rain. It wasn't heavy, and I just sat there for a while enjoying the feel of that, particularly after the fact that it had been quite a long, hot day. And that's when we get a lot of our storm season over here in Australia. We get really stinking hot days, and they build up and build up and build up during the day, and eventually storms roll in from various directions. In Sydney, they roll in from the south. The old southerlies come in from Sydney. Up here, they tend to roll in from the north, either due west, northwest, or sometimes southwest, I should say. So there's sort of a band around us where they sometimes roll in, caused by, of course, the really hot air. I think I'm just sort of checking that that's probably all the cards have to say for us right at the moment. I'm just looking at what this is here on the I'm not sure what that is on the rhino card. Just getting a bit of light on it. I don't know what that's meant to signify. I have to go and have a look at the book. It's on all three of the cards. There's sort of a little icon there on all three of the cards, and they're different on. It's a similar one on the jackal and the coyote. It's different on the rhino. I have to go and investigate that. So where are we? It's the end of it. It's the end of the year. I wish that 2024 will be whatever it is you need it to be. I wish for you that if 2023 and even the few years prior to that have been horrendously traumatic for you, that you feel like you can move past that. You feel like you can renew and go forward in a more positive light. I hope that the break between Christmas and New Year that we're fast getting towards the end of has been everything you wanted it to be, either a break or not a break. I tend to not take much of a break, but it has been what you needed it to be, that you've caught up on sleep if you needed to catch up on sleep, that you've celebrated with family if that was important to you, and that you know, if you did celebrate with family, that was the positive event you wanted it to be. And if it wasn't positive and there was some negativity about it, that you're able to just let that go and move on. I think as we go into 2024, I'm a firm believer in the universe gives us what we think. The universe will give us what we put energy into. So if we put a lot of energy into negativity, then the universe very happily throws all that negativity back at us. So I'm very much a glass is half full sort of person. I prefer to think about what I have rather than what I haven't. I think about the positive things that have gone on for me that day or that week or that month or that year, rather than wallowing in the negative. And I am a disabled person with multiple different disabilities going on. It would be very easy for me to wallow in the woe is me. Like I woke this morning in tremendous pain. In the middle of the night, I was trying to get up and walk to go to the bathroom, and I basically couldn't walk. I did end up walking to go to the bathroom. You've got no choice when you live alone. It's don't wallow in that negative stuff. Don't wallow in the bad. This, you know, the this too shall pass statement just came back into my head. This will pass. Take a deep breath, breathe, and know that if you want it to be, the future will be better than the past was. If the past was okay, know that if you want the future to be okay, the future will be okay. It's about what we call in, what we manifest. If we manifest goodness and happiness and healthiness, and wealth is a word I don't like because I don't think you need to be wealthy to be happy, but or to feel good. If what you choose to dwell on is what you're going to manifest. So if you choose to dwell on all the bad stuff, then remember you're going to get stuck in all that bad stuff. So choose to dwell on what you would like things to be like, and let the universe deliver that up to you. So that's probably enough of my pontificating. Let's move on and to the final close of today's session. I aim to be back next week, God willing. It'll be theoretically the 7th of January. I honestly cannot get over the fact that we're already talking January. I don't know what the week's going to hold, but I hope the week for you will be everything that you want it to be. And if it's not what you want it to be, then I hope that you have the power to positively focus on what you would like it to be, and be confident that that will happen. If it doesn't happen immediately, give it time. Keep focusing on what you want things to be. Thank you very much for being here with me today. I hope you found this enjoyable. It is for educational purposes only. If you do want a fuller reading, then I do those obviously online, so you can be anywhere in the world. Just go to petcaremagic.com and you will find the link to book a time to have a fuller animal reading. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification buttons if you want to be notified when I do more of these each week. Thank you, and I hope you all have a really great week.